Hi, guys.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom. We'll begin soon. Let's get people who are still in our waiting room through the registration.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Let's begin in 1 minute as people are still gathering in the virtual room. It's great to see everyone as I'm going to kind of scan through the gallery. This is our 4th week in Zoom services, but if you are new, we encourage you to go to gallery view, because in this time of isolation, it's nice to see the faces of one another. And so we've intentionally left some of the liturgy that we're accustomed to behind so that we're not looking at a text, but rather looking at each other. And then you'll notice you're muted because on Zoom, only one person can speak at once. That's the limitation. And so that we can hear the cantor sing or whoever, we've muted everyone. But at the bottom, there is a chat box, which will be opening for Misha Berach and for Kaddish. It's not open now. And I guess that's why someone just texted me before I turn off my phone. How did I get a haircut? And I can say my daughter gave me a haircut for this month and for next month and for the month after. So I'm deeply appreciative. So I think we've met, a lot of people have entered our virtual room. And so let's begin in song with our cantor, as we do every week.
Lai, 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 lai,
Shabbat Shalom. Once again, we can't have more than one person speak, and so we need to mute one another, which is challenging because we're so used to communicating verbally. But on Zoom, instead, we've done so visually with a tap of the heart or a wave. And so I just want to tap my heart and wave to you. It's really good to see everyone. I think that in many ways, as the days go by, it becomes a bit more challenging. And I do have to say that I feel like recent days, there is a growing frustration in our society. I think we're seeing it in the public square. You may be seeing it in your home. And I must say, about an hour ago, I saw it in Wellesley on Route 16, road rage, as two cars were jockeying for position as the road merged from 2 lanes to 1. There are a couple places on Route 16 in Wellesley where that happens. And no one would allow the car in front of them to get in. And it just saddened me that I think that society needs a deep breath every so often. And that's what I hope Shabbat brings to all of us, to settle ourselves and to remember the joy of breath and the joy of life and the joy of community, and not to sweat the small stuff about who's 10 feet in front, but to really appreciate the large stuff. So if we can do this, let's wave to the people around us just to see each other. I'm kind of flipping through the screens to see all of you because there's so many on the phone call.
Even Rabbi Emily Langowitz.
Oh, Emily, welcome from Arizona. And now let's begin Shabbat together by lighting our Sabbath candles. Rabbi Sapphire? And if you have candles near you at home, please join her as well.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu Lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And before we continue with the words of Shalom Aleichem, I just want to mention a past president of our congregation, Arthur Allen Tuck. Some of you may remember Arthur. Arthur passed away a couple of days ago from the COVID-19 virus. He had been struggling in recent years, but it's a great loss for me and for many in our community. Arthur was the one who was not only a past president, but he stood at the door of the sanctuary every Friday and would say, Shalom Aleichem, and then he would have a roll of coins in his pocket. And he would give a coin to each child entering the sanctuary so that that child could then in turn place it in the tzedakah box. He was the chief greeter, and he would always say, Reb Joel, Shalom Aleichem, waiting for that return, Alechem Shalom. And so as we continue with Shalom Aleichem, I certainly think of Arthur and his way of greeting our community into the Shabbat. And so I hope that you can think of his sense of greeting and welcome as we join with our cantor together.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Barchuni.
Barchuni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Seitchem, if you know the words.
Seitchem leshalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. V'melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
So we prepare ourselves for words of Shema, finding that deep breath of the week, taking it in and allowing it to satiate our entire being, allowing us to say words of Shema, of God's oneness together in community as one. We join together.
Yisrael, Adonai, Eloheinu, Adonai, Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
And so as we continue with words of Michamocha, words that might be the song or a song that remind us of our people leaving Egypt, remind us of a song we need at this moment. A moment when we have been in the middle of the sea, but looking out, having crossed the sea, seeing a wilderness in front of us, not knowing where it will go. So in that moment of unknown, we find words that allow us to fill our souls with joy. And so we find moments that of blessing amidst the unknown, amidst the uncertainty, and let us celebrate with words of Michamocha.
Beautiful words of introduction. And please join with me. We have this starting with the Nigun. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Ni chamocha, olim Adonai, ni kamocha, nedar b'kodesh. Norodilot usifele, norodilot usifele, ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Malchutecha rahuvanecha, okay ayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze Eli anu v'yameru, ya la 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 la, 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 ya la la, ya la la.
So once again, we haven't placed the words in front of you because of this time of social isolation. We thought it would be more important to see each other's faces. The exception is now, if Rabbi Sherman were able to place words on the screen, is we've added this prayer to our worship on Friday evenings, Shabbat, for this time. And so if we can read together, we are frightened, God, worried for our loved ones, worried for our world. Helpless and confused, we turn to you, seeking comfort, faith, and hope. Teach us, God, to turn our panic into patience and our fear into acts of kindness and support. Our strong must watch out for our weak. Our young must take care of our old. Help each one of us to do our part to halt the spread of this virus. Send strength and courage to the doctors and nurses in the front lines of this battle. Fortify them with the full force of their healing powers. Send wisdom and insight to the scientists working day and night across the world to discover healing treatments. Bless their efforts, God. Fill our leaders with the wisdom and the courage to choose wisely and act quickly. Help us, God, to see that we are one world, one people who will rise above this pandemic together. Send us health, God. Watch over us. Grace us with your love. Bless us with your healing light. Hear us, God. Heal us, God. And let us all say, Amen. And this week, we're going to leave the gallery view of individuals one more time because we realize that something we miss is hearing our cantors sing together, something we can't do on Zoom. And so one selection each week we're going to have recorded. And so this week we're going to listen as Cantor Zell and Cantor Suffren lead us.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkevenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkevenu, Le'shalom. Amideinu, Shomeinu L'chaim, Ufros Aleinu, Sukkot Shalom Lecha. Hashkevenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkevenu, Shalom. Hashkevenu, love and understanding among us. Hashkevenu, and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Beautiful, thank you. And now as I was able to kind of scroll through, I'm seeing people from our community who are in Florida, New York, Western Massachusetts, past members from Texas, in California. It's good to be together. If you're able, let's rise at this point for the tefillah. And the words are not in front of you, but this is moments for the meditation of the heart.
La 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 la, la 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 Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Yalalai, lai, lai, 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 yalalai, lai, lai.
Let's continue with a moment of individual meditation and prayer.
Adonai, Tzuri, Adonai, Tzuri, v'go'ali, Adonai, Tzuri, Adonai, Tzuri, v'go'ali. Go inside your heart, just be. Go inside your heart and see what it wants, what it needs, what it yearns when you breathe. Go inside your heart and see. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be kind, be true. May they be acceptable to you. Oh, my rock, and my redeemer.
You can't, if you haven't already taken a seat, you may take a seat at this time. At this time, we also offer prayers to those who are in need of healing, of mind, of body, of spirit, or of the soul. So if you are thinking of someone and would like to add prayers of healing this evening, I have opened the chat box and we asked you to place names of those individuals who you're asking for prayers of healing. And we can watch them and offer all of our shared prayers to these names.
strength, who blessed the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishebeirach imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
And of course, on Shabbat, we also give thanks for the sacred moments in life as well. And this has become our time for our community to celebrate the God-given times that have occurred during the past week. And so if you've shared a birthday during the past week, if you would raise your hand so that we can wish you a happy birthday. I see Joni on my second page, but I can't scroll more than that, so I apologize for people on 3 and 4, because I know there are more birthdays, but I'm afraid I'll lose myself if I keep scrolling. How about anniversaries? Maybe other rabbis and cantors can scroll. Do we have any anniversaries? Oh, we have Rabbi Sapphire's anniversary, 12 years, right?
And counting. Impressive.
How about renewed health? Coming to health. Or the birth of a child. I know, Rabbi, we have a new member of our community who's been watching on Zoom.
I'm looking at a newborn right now. I want to give a warm, warm welcome to Mr. Adi Lior, who is the son of Julia and Alon, who are part of our community. Welcome you. So excited to share your joy.
Glad you're with us. I know there are many sacred moments. If you want to share one more publicly, please email us during the week and we'll share. But let's hold all of these moments in our hearts, thinking back at some of the things that have occurred during the past week that are worthy of God's blessing. And let's join together in Shahafim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Thank you, Cantor. So can you hear me? Good. Hopefully my internet won't go out, because I do want to share words of Torah with you again this evening. So this week's Torah portion is from Leviticus, chapters 9, verse 1 through chapter 11, verse 7. And I've got to tell you, in the privacy of this virtual room, you can't tell anyone, it's pretty boring. So this week, and maybe it's just that I've been inside largely for the last 4 weeks, but Leviticus just seems to lack the sweeping narratives of Genesis with Adam and Noah, and Joseph just makes me want to sing. Or the book of Exodus with Moses and Miriam, and let my people go. Instead, we have Leviticus describing the intricate details of the building of the tabernacle and the performance of the sacrifices therein. Pretty boring. We read in Leviticus, take a calf of the herd for a purification offering, and I quote, and a ram for a burnt offering without blemish, and bring them before the Lord. Take a he-goat for a purification offering, a calf and a lamb, yearlings without blemish for a burnt offering, and an ox and a ram for an offering of well-being, and a grain offering with oil mixed in, until finally, in chapter 10, after detail after boring detail, we get something binge-worthy. Now, maybe not Tiger King binge-worthy, or Fauda, which third season just came out last night on Netflix. Not as good as Shtisel or Our Boys, but pretty good for quarantine. You can tell what I've been doing late at night. But anyway, finally in chapter 10, we get one of the most dramatic stories of the entire Bible. When Aaron's sons, Nadav and Abihu, take fire pans, and as the Torah tells us, offer alien fire before the Lord. And suddenly we read that they are consumed, like poof, zap, nothing left. They are incinerated before God. And so our sages asked, what just happened? Amidst the boring nature of Leviticus, what could Nadav and Abihu have done that could merit such a punishment? To be taken on a day when everyone was celebrating. The tabernacle was finally finished. All of the details of their hard work were completed. And instead, suddenly there was sadness. V'yidom Aharon, it tells us. Aaron was silent in mourning and grieving. And so what could have happened? Well, like everything else in the Jewish tradition, opinions abound. One rabbi said that Nadav and Abihu were incinerated by God because they were arrogant, as they were hoping Moses and Aaron would actually die so that they could take over. And so poof, incinerated before God. Another rabbi said, no, it was because they were drunk before the Lord. Poof, incinerated before God. A third rabbi said, no, it's because they were obstinate and they never asked others for guidance. Poof, incinerated before God. But in this unusual year, I found another reason that stood out among all the others. And that is, one sage said that Aaron's sons, Nadav and Abihu, were incinerated before God because they were impatient and couldn't wait. You see, they had listened to verse after verse of Leviticus on how to build the tabernacle and perform all the sacrifices therein. And as soon as it was over, they ran out of their homes before they were told. And they offered this fire. The rabbis said, it's not that it was a bad thing that they offered sacrifice to God. It's because that they did it too soon, endangering themselves and all around them. And I must admit, on this, our fifth service on Zoom, I kind of get it. Because in many ways, I want to do an Nadav and Abihu, and I want to get out soon too. I want to go to the bagel store. I want to go to Starbucks. I want to just go out and give my friends a hug. But I have to wait, for I'm told it's not time yet. And as much as we'd like to think it is, because perhaps much of the work has been done, or our time at home is increasingly boring, we need to be patient and persevere, especially these next couple of weeks, and do something that Nadav and Abihu just weren't able to do. They paid for it. And so for the answers on how to persevere, I turned to Natan Sharansky, the famous Jewish refusenik who sat in a jail in Siberia for over 9 years, half of them in solitary confinement, simply for teaching Hebrew in the Soviet Union. And I listened to Sharansky as he was asked to give advice to the millions of people now sitting in isolation. And he said a few things. One, he said, you need a sense of humor to persevere. He said he would tell jokes to the prison guards. Two, he said, you need to have hobbies. He said that even in jail, he played chess in his head. Three, he said, you need to know that you're not alone, that you're part of a community. And he knew that he was part of a people protesting all over the world, many of us included, with a shared mission. And he remembered that. But the one I want to focus on is his fourth reason. He said that you need to accomplish things that are not dependent on others. Meaning, don't make plans for 3 weeks from now, but instead, only make plans for today or tomorrow, because those you know you can control. And then here's the kicker. He said, and know that every small deed that you do is part of a larger battle, and that ultimately victory depends on you. And that's what we need to do. And so this week, I'm not suggesting a gratitude journal or an ingrained motto, all kind of things I've suggested in the past. Instead, I'm suggesting that we keep an I did it journal, a simple listing of the things you've accomplished during the day that you can actually record in a notebook or in your head. A simple listing of the small accomplishments. I called 2 friends. I did it. I cooked dinner. I did it. I ate with the kids. I did it. I walked outside. I did it. And know that these small things are important, because by doing them, you are part of a larger battle, and that victory depends on you. We will beat this pandemic, but we still have a lot of work to do. I think that's what Leviticus is. In fact, I now believe, and I must admit, that's what makes it so interesting. It's a large, long listing of lots of small accomplishments on how to build a sanctuary and make sacrifice therein. It's not always exciting. Sometimes it's even boring. But as we learn from Nadav and Abihu, there are moments in life when we can't rush forward. We need to make sacrifices for the common good. That's Leviticus, according to the rabbis, the holiest book in the entire Torah. I did it. I did it. I did it. I did it. Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos.
This was actually my bat mitzvah Torah portion, and it's never sounded as beautiful as it has tonight. A song that we haven't done in many years, but one that feels appropriate as we take our steps, take those moments one by one. Oh, guide my steps and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps, and help me make this day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. Ufrus aleinu sukkot shlomecha. Ufrus aleinu sukkot shlomecha. Oh, guide my steps and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps, and help me make this day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps.
And so we now take a moment to think of those who passed away at this time in years past, or those who passed away who are members of our community who have passed away within the period of mourning, meaning if you've lost a parent during the past 11 months or an immediate family member during the past 30 days. We invite you to type their names in the chat room, those individuals you're remembering. And we lost a number of members of our community and relatives of members of our community recently. And so let me read their names. Arthur Allen Tuck, who I mentioned, our past president. Alfred Brenner, Sarita Blau, Maxine Blaustein, Alyssa Weinroth, Harold Garber, Shirley Glazier, Bennett Heffron, Gladys Sklar, Margaret Spear, and Lois Strome. And those who passed away in years past, but we've been asked to read the names of Mel Kessel and Stuart Sindel. We also think of all of those individuals being listed in our chat room. And as they continue to scroll through our chat room, I invite the mourners who are on this call to rise if you're able, so that we can recognize you as mourners in our midst. As we scroll through, I'm only going to ask them to rise during our Zoom services so that we can see them as mourners in our midst. And then now let's place the mourners' Kaddish on the screen so that anyone who would like to participate can join us in these words. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad yivrach roteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayachon v'yamechon v'chayed chol Beit Yisrael, v'agalav yizman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam olamei almaya.
Yitbarach.
Yishtabach,
Shabach yitba'ar v'yithramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudesha b'richu, le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, v'amiram v'yama v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mirmav, v'yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael.
So let's just take a brief moment for announcements, and then we'll count the Omer, this period between Passover and Shavuot. I know, Rabbi, our community forums, due to a technological difficulty, are meeting once again. So can you share?
actually, I think our technological difficulties that we experienced on Tuesday were meant to be, because we have a new and improved forum to join together for our community conversations that will be held on Sunday evening at 7:30. If you are already RSVP'd, you should have instructions in your inbox, but it is not too late to sign up. There is a link in this week's eBlast, and a few groups were able to meet, which was also meant to be, because we have heard wonderful feedback and are so excited to join together on Sunday nights. We look forward. We're going to begin all together as a community, so we hope that will be our next time to be together before we gather on Monday. Rabbi Sherman?
So I actually just want to remind people, tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, you can join with me and Cantor Suffren for morning blessings and Torah study, where we will only study the most interesting parts of our Torah portion and of the entire book of Leviticus. I hope you'll join us each week at 10 o'clock. And then Monday night at 7:30, we will mark Yom HaShoah, the Holocaust Day of Remembrance, with a ritual and service of remembrance at 7:30, and then a community-wide film discussion on the film Who Will Write Our History. There's information all on our website and links to places where you can find the film. I hope you will join us for both opportunities to engage with this important day.
And I hope everyone is receiving our broadcasts 3 times a week now and checking the website, because our community is really, has been very active in Torah learning and spirituality, and there are many offerings, as well as social justice. It's a tremendous outpouring of giving that is taking place and participation. We see it in our services each Friday night, as this has become our central meeting place. We see it in every program, from book groups to social justice activities. The numbers are great. And so I'm just thrilled that our community is gathering in this way at this time. So we hope you'll join us. This is a unique time of year, not just in the world, but in the Jewish calendar between Passover and Shavuot. And so Rabbi Sapphire, will you lead us in the counting?
Yes, and before I do so, I just want to remind everyone that we are counting communally every single evening on Facebook, not just as we gather for the weeks on Shabbat. And I want to read the quote that I shared this evening. It relates to what you just said, Rabbi. It says, "Life is purposeful when we give." So you can think about those many ways that bring us meaning and purpose. So let us join together in the blessing before counting this new day.
This special melody sounds like this. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sefirat haomer.
Which means, blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to count the Omer. And we count the day. Hayom tish'a yamim shehem shavua echad u'shnei yamim la'omer. Today is 9 days, which is 1 week and 2 days of the Omer.
So if you have a Kiddush cup nearby, I think I saw a few people drinking wine throughout the service. But,
I love these new customs.
You can drink in this sanctuary.
Let's
Petra, will you lead us, and then we'll free up everyone's and unmute folks for a grand Shabbat Shalom after Kiddush and Motzi.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotov v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'yahava u'ratzon inchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom tehillah Mikraye Kodesh Zeichel Etziat Mitzrayim Kivanu vachata, yotanu kidashta, mikol hamim, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'ahava uvratzon, hinchatanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadish HaShabbat. Amen.
So before we conclude with Motzi and a Shabbat Shalom, I just want to say I'm so thankful for all of you for joining us for Shabbat. I hope that this is a week where we're patient with each other and with ourselves. We take joy in the little accomplishments that we make, knowing that through these little accomplishments, we are part of a bigger battle, and that ultimately we will return to the lives that we've enjoyed together physically to embrace. And so let's now have a challah. I see a few. I see Italian bread. I see French bread. Everything works. Ah, there we go. Oh, I see homemade. Who's going to lead us? Cantor?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon.
And so now, if we can, like we've done each week, free up everyone to share.
Shabbat Shalom.
Everybody.
Shalom.
Fred.
Shabbat Shalom,
Shalom.
Shalom.
There they are.
Beverly.
This must be people's everything, guys.
I just want like mine.
What's up, Ozzy?
You guys.
We're gonna have to do it now.
You ready to lead?
Died to see where it says I can't read up.
Please.
Been
People dropping out every 2 seconds.
Home, everybody.
Like that slideshow.
Stand it anymore.
Go to the first page.
I can't shut it off.
I recognize him. You know who that is? That's
Wheels to its heaven.
Carry that light.
That's when you got a higher number.
Daniel Blue. Daniel Blue.
Shabbat Shalom, Jay and Mary.
Well, that's Abby and Elodie. Can't see us, right?
How they know my
Language. Shalom.
There's.
They left the whole time. They're back.
I'm adjusting the camera.
Look, there's somebody's lighting fixture.
I don't want a blue bulb.
Hello.
This is so cute.
Like Rabbi Weiss, doesn't it?
Don't you think this is so cute? You're hating me right now. Oh, honey.
Everybody.
What do you think of this, Alyssa? 3 cities, 3 Shabbat services.
Shalom, bud.
Mommy thinks it's hilarious.
No,
Daddy not so
we
much.
could watch the movie on their computer.
Why are they using so much airtime? Hey, buddy.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, okay. I'll just put in the chat the Haxy family says hi.
Hi. Hi.
He's Andy Bernard, Barbara.
I know, but.
Hi, Jacob. Hi, Daniel.
Hi, Barbara. Say hello to Buddy.
Andy Bernard.
Hey, little buddy.
Looks nice, Barbara.
Shalom.
Would you?
He knows more people.
Oh, ours says chat disabled. I wonder why.
Hi, Elodie. Hi, Chris and Sue.
And why do you think ours is
Andy
disabled?
Bernard lives.
Hi, Bud. To Bud.
Hi,
Hey, Bud.
Eva.
Say hello to Mary. Say hello to Bud.
Okay.
Everyone.
Or Klopfer.
Yeah, that's the Klopfer. I heard Journey. People.
Most people.
Oh, everyone's on it. We would have
They
been on
record
too.
this.
Yeah, they
Have to-
were like we were. Most
Oh,
people
so here we
were.
are.
They left
Jay.
Hi there. Hi there. Hi, 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 hi. Hi, Julie.
Ooh, Cheryl Friedman Borelli. Ooh, she's pretty. Cheryl Friedman
Look, did
Borelli.
you see the Klopfer kids?
Where does she live, I wonder?
Look, Adam Koppel's on.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, it appears so.
Are you?
Well, we're still on. You want to say hi to people?
Jelly and Koppel.
Well, pick up the.
I think this is hysterical. I think this is hysterical. Let's stop video so they can see our name. Oh, because we're signed in as me on this laptop.
I can't hear her.
We just see my name.
Here, Jacob.
Night, everybody. See you next week.
Cannon.
Safe and healthy, everybody.
Yeah, thank you for putting Al's name in. That was-
What are they?
Looks good.
Hello and good Sabbath to everybody.
Blah. You want me to turn the video back
Do
on?
you get the new pharmaceuticals? Okay. And did he move the big?
Who's that?
Baby.
All right, I think we're gonna leave the meeting.
Ah.
All right, say night night.
Okay, press.
I'm hanging out. I don't see enough of this.
Daniel.
Bye. Bye, I'm hanging out.
Daniel.
Bye. Bye, Eva. Bye-bye.
Bye. We love you.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Love you.
Love you.
Okay.